Welcome back to the deep dive. This time we're going to be looking at how eyes evolved. Those incredible organs that, well, let us see the world. You've sent over a ton of research articles, even some personal notes. It's quite the collection. I think we're ready to really uncover how these things developed, over millions of years. We'll be looking at some fascinating facts, I think some surprising connections, and maybe even some aha moments along the way. So are you ready to explore the world of sight with me?
Absolutely. I think the evolution of eyes is a really remarkable story. Lots of twists and turns and some incredible adaptations, that's for sure.
It really is like opening a window to this hidden world. And speaking of windows, our sources keep pointing us back to this time period, about 540 million years ago,
Yeah.
the Cambrian explosion. What was so special about that period in terms of eye evolution?
Well, the Cambrian explosion, it was this time of just massive diversification of life. And it's really fascinating because so many of the creatures that appeared during this time had complex eyes. And it wasn't just a coincidence. Imagine a world where everyone's suddenly playing hide and seek. But some of the players can actually see while others are just, stumbling around in the dark. Even basic vision would have been a huge advantage back then. And I think that really sparked this evolutionary arms race.
Hmm.
Better eyesight just meant better odds of survival,
So
right?
the ability to see becomes this powerful driving force, pushing both predators and prey to constantly develop more sophisticated eyes.
Exactly. And we've got some really incredible examples from that period, like Anomalocaris.
Yeah.
This fearsome predator had compound eyes, each one with multiple lenses,
Wow.
which likely gave it exceptional motion detection and a really wide field of view. It's like having a built-in security system that can spot movement from all angles.
Yeah.
With vision like that, you can see why it was so successful.
It's almost like the evolution of these complex eyes, like Anomalocaris had, just changed the entire survival game. It makes you wonder, though, did every creature just suddenly sprout these complex eyes out of nowhere? Or were there, some stepping stones along the way?
That's a really great question, and it's highly unlikely that they just popped up overnight. One of our sources, Andrew Parker, has done some fascinating research on this. He argues that eyes, in some form or another, actually evolved independently multiple times throughout history.
So different creatures in totally different environments that were all, stumbling on this same solution, the power of sight.
Yeah. And what's even more intriguing is that even just simple light sensitivity would have offered this huge evolutionary advantage. Parker studied this type of shrimp that developed like a light sensing patch. It was a precursor to more complex eyes.
Hmm.
These shrimp couldn't see detailed images, but they could sense changes in light and dark. That could mean the difference between detecting a predator's shadow or maybe finding a safe, dimly lit spot to hide.
It's like they had this early warning system that really gave them a leg up in a world that was full of dangers. So starting with that basic light sensitivity, evolution kind of gradually built upon that foundation,
Hmm.
leading to all these amazing different types of eyes we see today.
Right.
But this brings up a fascinating question. Was this evolution of eyes just a lucky accident? Or was it somehow destined to happen?
Ah, the classic contingency versus convergency debate. Contingency would say that eyes were a fluke, a chance occurrence that might not have happened if things were just slightly different. Convergency, on the other hand, says that the laws of physics and just the benefits of having vision made this development practically inevitable.
So one side says it was a roll of the dice, and the other says it was like it was written in the stars, basically. That's a tough one. What does our research tell us?
Well, there's evidence to support both sides. Think about the camera-like eyes we have as vertebrates, right?
Right.
Compared to, say, the compound eyes of insects. They both achieve the goal of vision, but with these completely different designs, that could point towards contingency. Evolution finding multiple solutions to this same problem.
No, evolution was experimenting with all these different approaches, and both of them turned out to be successful in their own way.
Exactly. But then the fact that vision evolved independently in so many different lineages, that also suggests a degree of convergency. It seems like the ability to see was such a powerful advantage that evolution just kept finding ways to achieve it, even if the paths were different.
That's a really interesting point. So maybe it's not really an either-or situation. Maybe it was a combo of chance and necessity, like a lucky roll of the dice that set the stage for this incredible journey of adaptation and innovation. It's amazing to think about how many types of eyes exist in the animal kingdom, each one perfectly tuned to its owner's needs.
It really is. From simple, light-sensitive patches to the complex image-forming eyes like we have, the diversity is staggering. And each type of eye evolved to meet very specific environmental and survival needs. We could delve into those a bit further if you're
Oh,
interested.
yeah, it's like nature's own design lab,
hmm
coming up with all these incredible solutions for seeing in different environments and for different purposes. Let's explore some of those amazing adaptations.
Well, let's start with a group that really shows off this power of specialized vision.
Mm.
Insects. Their compound eyes, as we were talking about, are incredible for detecting movement, and they give a really wide field of view. But they have another trick up their sleeve, too.
Yeah,
They can actually see ultraviolet light.
that's right. Yeah, I remember reading about that. But why is that so beneficial for them? It's not like they go into tanning salons or something.
Well, no, not tanning salons,
Yeah.
but it does help them find food. A lot of flowers, they have these patterns you can only see in ultraviolet light.
Hmm.
They act like landing strips for pollinating insects, like bees. Guides them straight to the nectar and pollen. It's like the secret language that only they can understand.
So it's like this whole hidden world of colors and patterns that, that we humans are totally missing out on. This is wild. It really highlights how different species have just evolved to see the world in ways that work best for them.
Yeah.
And speaking of seeing the world differently, we came across some pretty incredible adaptations for vision in the deep sea, right?
Oh, absolutely. In the deep sea, it's completely dark, right? So some creatures down there, they've evolved super sensitive eyes that can pick up on the faintest little bioluminescent flashes. Imagine living in a world where communication and hunting all rely on these tiny bursts of light. It's a totally different visual experience from what we're used to up here.
It's like they've got this underwater light show going on down there all the time. It makes you realize um, how diverse the world of vision really is. But if we're talking about adapting to specific environments, I think we got to talk about the evolution of color vision in primates. What's the story there?
Oh, yeah, that's a great example. You know how something as simple as finding the right food can drive evolution? Early primates, they developed what's called trichromatic vision. So that means they could see three primary colors, red, green, and blue. And this was a big deal because it meant they could easily spot ripe red fruit against a background of green leaves.
So our love of colorful fruit salad is actually rooted in millions of years of evolution. It's a fun fact. We'll have to share at the next picnic. But talking about amazing adaptations, what about those creatures with the mirror-like eyes? The ones that live in the deep sea. They always seem so strange to me.
Yeah, they are remarkable. They live in that dimly lit twilight zone of the ocean, and their eyes actually reflect light back through the retina. It's like they're doubling the amount of light they can capture, which gives them exceptional low light vision. It's crucial for surviving down there.
Wow, it's like having built-in night vision goggles. Nature is a pretty amazing engineer, but it's not always just about seeing in different light conditions, is it? I mean, some animals have evolved to have specialized vision for really specific tasks, like birds of prey.
Oh, you're absolutely right. Predatory birds like hawks and eagles, their eyes are just packed with these photoreceptor cells, the ones that detect light.
Right.
This gives them incredible visual acuity, and
Yeah.
they can spot prey from really, really far distances, distances that would seem impossible to us.
It's like they have these telephoto lenses built in. No wonder they're such good hunters. What about animals that live in environments that are constantly changing, though? Their eyes have to adapt to that, too?
Absolutely. Chameleons are a great example of this. Their eyes can move independently of each other, giving them almost a 360-degree field of view.
Wow.
So they can scan their surroundings for prey, even when they're staying perfectly still. Really brilliant for an ambush predator.
It's like having two sets of eyes working on their own. That's crazy. But if we're talking about adaptable vision, we can't forget about us, right? Human eyes, they're capable of some really impressive things, from tracking fast-moving objects to perceiving these subtle changes in color and light. So how did our vision become so versatile?
Well, human vision is the result of, millions of years of evolution shaped by the needs of our ancestors. They had to rely on their vision for hunting, for gathering food, for navigating their environments.
Right.
And over time, our eyes evolved to give us this really remarkable combination of abilities, allowed us to thrive in a bunch of different settings.
So our eyes are like the culmination of millions of years of evolutionary fine-tuning. But here's a question I've been thinking about. Are our eyes still evolving? Our environment's changing so fast these days, especially with all the technology. Could these changes influence, the future of human vision?
Yeah, it's definitely possible. I mean, some researchers, they think that the way we're using technology these days, like all that time we spend just staring at screens, that it could be creating these new evolutionary pressures on our eyes.
So you're saying our digital habits could actually be like shaping the future of human vision. What kind of changes are we even talking about here?
Well, think about all the artificial light we're exposed to now, especially blue light from screens. There are studies suggesting that this could be changing our visual acuity, so our ability to see clearly. It might also affect our ability to focus and could even make us, more prone to getting certain eye conditions.
It's like we're running this giant experiment on ourselves, but we won't know the results for like generations.
Yeah.
It's kind of unsettling, but also fascinating. But even if we don't know exactly how our eyes will evolve, it's clear that vision has played this huge role in, you know, how successful we've been as a species.
Oh, for sure. From those very first light sensitive cells to these incredibly complex eyes that we have today, the ability to see has just been this driving force in shaping life as we know it. And the diversity of adaptations that we see in nature, I mean, it's just remarkable.
It really makes you appreciate how incredible and complex even something as simple as seeing actually is.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think I'll ever take my vision for granted again. This whole deep dive has been a real eye-opener, no pun intended.
Right.
But before we go, I have one last question for you, maybe a little bit provocative. We've been talking about how eyes have evolved in the past, but what about the future? We're living in this time of crazy technological advancements. Could those, combined with all the changes happening in the environment, could they lead to totally new ways of seeing? Like, could future generations experience the world visually in ways that we can't even imagine?
It's definitely something to think about. I mean, it's possible that humans could evolve to perceive wavelengths of light that are invisible to us right now. Like imagine being able to see, beyond the visible spectrum into the infrared or ultraviolet. Or maybe future eyes could have like enhanced visual acuity, letting them see tiny details or objects super far away.
That's both exciting and a little bit scary to think about all the possibilities.
Hmm.
Who knows? Maybe future humans will look back at us and think, wow, they could only see this limited part of the world. It makes you wonder what other secrets about vision are still out there.
Absolutely. Yeah. This journey of discovery, it'll keep going, driven by our curiosity to understand the world around us and, how life perceives it.
This has been an incredible journey through the evolution of eyes, just full of fascinating facts and thought-provoking ideas. And to everyone listening out there, we hope this deep dive has inspired you to, look at the world with a new appreciation for this amazing sense of sight.
We've seen how eyes evolved from the simplest forms to what we have today, and who knows what incredible adaptations the future holds. It's a story that's still unfolding, and it really shows us the incredible power and adaptability of life.
So until next time, keep looking closer, keep questioning deeper, and keep marveling at the beauty and the complexity of the world around us.